Hi, I'm Cesar Vaquerizo. I'm 30 years old. I'm from Ecuador and I'm a proud author. My debut book title is A Safe Place with You. It's a fictional novel, but at the same time it's inspired by true events that unfortunately continue to happen around the world. The story that I wrote is takes place in Ecuador at the end of the 80s, when the same-sex relationship was still illegal. It's about a center called Growth and Anomaly that was originally a rehab clinic for general addiction, but it eventually began also to treat young gay people. The center claimed to be able to cure homosexuality. The rejected youth are misunderstood and forcibly taken by their family to that center, where they are held against their will in the sexual orientation wing. There, they are subject to violent and horrible treatment by the staff under the guise that it will make them normal again, according to Dr. Rudeberg. But as a result, the youth suffer both physically and emotionally, causing them to lose their faith, to test their strength to survive, and to find the courage to fight for their identity without external influence. The main character is a young boy named Tomás Díaz, who recently came out of the closet and was rejected by his parents. He feels distant from them, and especially from God, because of what he was told by his father about the quote taken by the Bible that say that he is an abomination from God's eye, and that is why he don't feel being at his home. He doesn't belong there anymore. In the chapter 1, Thomas sees an article from the national newspaper about a young boy who committed suicide with a gun that his father kept in the closet for an emergency, and the father announced to the press that his son was a sexual deviant, a homosexual, which is exactly how Thomas identified himself in childhood. The curiosity leads Thomas to investigate what really happened to cause that young boy to make such a drastic and so funny decision. While he researched, he discovered that behind of that tragic story, there is also a love story, and it will help him to be more confident about himself and brave, and it will change his life forever. Even though my book has a dark theme, psychological drama and suspense, it also has a lack of hope and romance. I wrote it in third-person omniscient. I add the epistolary element. The story happened in different locations and time that we get to know the character's story in the past, present, and future. I have to say that each of my characters reveal and represent the real discrimination that the LGBT community has been going through for years and unfortunately is still experiencing today around the world. No, this is not an autobiography about me. I have never been forced by my family to go to a clinic to treat my sexuality. This is a fictional, young adult novel, but I have to say that there are some parts and different sides of me in each of my characters. For example, we have Sebastian Finelli, who has a disability of severe asthma, and he depends on his inhaler. I don't suffer from severe asthma, but I'm 19% deaf, and I used the hearing aid since the age of 4. And it's because of this that I don't pronounce some word that is supposed to sound, sometimes it's difficult to me to catch the pronunciation of some word. We have another character, Mateo Freire, who is bullied in high school. I was bullied because of being deaf and gay. I'm not necessarily telling my life story, but I trust and I believe that I'm sharing the main experience that other people like me have been going through in life. It's my wish that people will connect with my words, and hopefully it will make them to realize that they aren't alone and there is still hope everywhere you go. I end up putting a part of my soul in my piece of work, and I wrote it honestly with my talk, my feeling, my emotion, and I express them through my character, through this fictional world that I create that is in fact not that different from our current reality. To tell you the truth, it all started as a hobby. I never even imagined that I could actually finish a novel and much less to publish it. It's so bizarre and unbelievable that I'm still pressing it, you know? It was a long road and the hardest work I ever done. I started writing as a kid back in primary school. I used to write in my spare time several short stories, but it was when I was 14 years old I had the dream to write a complete novel. I struggled for years to do, and it actually took me 10 years to write the first word of this book. I decided to write As I Play With You back in August 2011 on a weekend after reading an article from the national newspaper about the health minister of Ecuador discovering illegal clinics that were operating to treat and cure homosexuality. It really impacted me and it stuck in my head for days until I started to create the character, a plot, a scenario, and then I got inspired to write a novel with my point of view about this terrible event that I knew existed in some country but never thought would happen here. I started this project thinking if you never try, you will never know, and I love a what if. So I began to write. It was a crazy experience and so unexpected. Everything flowed. I was a very lonely kid growing up, and I thought that I was the only one that ever felt like I didn't fit into this world. Not just because of my sexuality, but also for being deaf. I went through a lot of hard time, and it was very difficult for me to grow up and to thrive in a religion, in a society that made me feel and forced me to believe that I was a sick, a weak, a sinner, unnatural, just for being different, you know. I felt that I wasn't good enough for anything. I thought that it was my fault, and I was very embarrassed from being who I am. And the reason why I survived is that I look up from my country and I learned historic events that positively impact the LGBT community, such like the Stonewall in Riyadh. I learned about the political activist Harvey Milk, as you can see here. About the figure public and television had Ellen DeGeneres. Seeing them to coming out and how they became a positive role model for the LGBT community, it really opened my eyes and made me to realize that I was lying to myself. And it helped me to learn to love myself and to see that there's still hope for me, that I could live my life as who I am without feeling ashamed. So they really inspired me, and I discovered that I could use my writing as my voice to inspire others and to make a good difference as well in the community. It's also then to them that I got the courage to come out to my family and friends, and I'm so lucky and I'm so grateful to have all the support and encouragement and for being in my side. I have to say that in that moment when I came out, I just felt so relieved because I could finally find and get to know my true self. And it was an extraordinary experience that I will never forget. I wrote this novel to do something different, to make something special, to have something meaningful that I could share to the world, and now I have this, and it's an absolutely dream come true. I still published the first Spanish edition back in February 2013, and in November of that same year, I began to edit and publish the first English translation. And I also started to contact literature agents and publisher houses of the United States. It wasn't easy or turned by overnight to get a publisher contract. As you can see in my inspiration world, I traveled to New York, LA, and Dallas to make connection, and I got 23 rejection letters, and a lot of them for it. I struggled a lot, and the rejection seemed to never stop. But finally, at my last attempt, I received the approval letter from a publisher, Pen Publishing, who wanted to work with me and to publish my manuscript. It was an exciting moment. I remember being jumping around of so much happening, and I signed the contract without thinking it twice. And then I began to write, edit, and publish with my new editor from the publisher house. I would like to share that what really helped me to keep moving forward with my dream is my catchword, my motto, that it's all up to you to make things happen. If you really want something, you will have to get over your fear with personal and courage. In my experience, that is the key that you will need to make your dream come true. And it was an incredible journey. I mean, at that time, it seemed impossible, and it's amazing seeing happen now. I mean, if you ask me how I did it with my hard work that eventually paid off. And it just feels so good, and it's just a beautiful feeling. My goal is to send a powerful and peaceful message and to inspire others to my world. I want to let people know not to be afraid to keep living, that it's okay to be different, and it's even great to be unique and special. I nobody should go through the bad time alone. I mean, life is hard and complicated, I know, but it's also beautiful, and it's the best thing to learn to live it. There's no better feeling than opening up your heart and yourself to the people you love and care about, and being understood just for who you are. I believe when someone reads my book will identify with my character and will find out that on the inside we aren't so different after all. I mean, we are looking for love, we seek to make our dream come true, to do good, we seek to find our place, I say play in this world, and we are looking for all life purpose. This is also an invitation for a human self-reflection about hope, love, and life, and to let people know that there is nothing to kill in homosexuality, that it's just a sexual orientation, and it adds diversity to the world that we live in. I mean, you cannot force someone to be with someone else if they don't feel love and feel attracted to each other. That chemistry and desire has to be born on the inside of you, from your heart, from your feeling, from your emotion, without external influence, and that is all that matters. I believe that my writing will lead people to be more open-minded and understand the LGBT community, and it also can create more awareness and teach people about the issues that the LGBT community have had to fight in the past, and we are still attempting to gain our equality, which we deserve. It's a human right. This book has everything to awake your feeling, to open your heart, and to be true to yourself with one another. With this book, I'm the living proof that things always get better in time, but it's all up to you to learn to love yourself and to be brave and stronger enough to stand up, to inspire others to be who they are. I mean, if I manage to survive and to make my dream come true, others can too. So I encourage people, to stand up, to find their personal and courage to make things happen, and to never give up in their dream. My book will officially be published in June 14, 2016, and it will be available worldwide through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iTunes, and wherever you are. I have an extra announcement. I'm going on a book tour in the United States, and that it will last from June 21 to July 16 in LA, San Francisco, Miami, Dallas, and New York City. I will update the time and day on my website, and by the end of this video I will share my social media so you can follow me and stay tuned. I'm so excited and I can't wait to start this new adventure to share my book to all of you. So I hope to see you there. That's it, guys. Bye!